Good afternoon. I'm here with Kyle Seymour, CEO of S&C Electric. We're at ETS. My name is H.G. Chisel, and we're going to have an opportunity to have a one-on-one talk. So welcome and thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks very much, H.G.
Yeah. So would you please just take a minute and introduce yourself so for those who might not have been able to attend today or don't know you?
Sure. Well, my name is Kyle Seymour. I am the president and CEO of S&C Electric Company in Chicago. And S&C is a 100-year-old company. I've been in Chicago the whole time. And we are 100% owned by our employees through an ESOP. We got our start, we invented the liquid power fuse that was an early innovation in the utility industry. And we have been with the utilities ever since. And our approach is to solve problems in innovative ways and come up with new solutions that make a difference.
The solving problems and making a difference has gone through a lot of evolutions. It's constantly changing, and I know today one of the things you highlighted were the new set of problems that are facing utilities. Can you talk about those and where you see the critical areas to focus on?
Right, sure. Well, the utility industry is a very mature industry. It's been around for longer than our company has. And it is not one that has undergone a lot of change. But in recent years, there's been a number of key technology advances that have really started to make a difference in the way a utility functions. One of those is the proliferation of connected digital devices. Now everybody has a connected digital device in their home and mostly in their pockets. And because of that, their tolerance for electric outages is lower than it used to be. People used to worry about, when they had an outage, they used to worry about their lights and their refrigerator and their air conditioner. And now they worry about their laptops and their cell phones. And an extended outage is a disaster for those who use those devices to be connected to the world. Yeah. So that's one key technology change that is really changing people's attitudes about power and power delivery. A second key technology change has been the development of renewable generation and energy storage. Because these technologies are now putting self-generation in reach for commercial companies, for industrials, and even for residential power consumers. So you take the combination of a declining tolerance for outages and the availability of options that don't depend necessarily on a utility, and it's making a changing landscape that the utilities are having to play within.
To what extent are utilities grasping the urgency of the situation right now?
Right, I think all utilities are seeing these things at work. In virtually every utility that I talk to, they are concerned about the reliability performance of their systems and what that does for their customers. And they are all concerned about modernizing and improving their electric grid. The issue in many cases is just how do we pay for those modernization programs. And at the same time that technologies are increasing the demands on them, technology is also reducing their total customer load. Right. For example, energy efficiency technologies, such as LED lighting, such as efficient appliances, such as control systems for buildings and homes that allow it to use less overall energy during the course of the day. All of those things are diminishing the requirements for energy consumption from the people who use energy. And so the utilities are looking at a steady to declining load from their customers at a time when they need to be investing in their systems to modernize.
That seems like a significant problem as your expectation for the quality and reliability is going up, yet your mechanism to support funding to meet that need is going down.
Is going down, right. And what that means is that in order to make those investments, utilities will have to convince their customers that it is worth it to them to be able to make those investments. And a key way that they do that is through showing reliability improvements on their system. If they can demonstrate reliability improvement, or they can commit to reliability improvement, then the incidences of outages diminish for those customers. The drivers that would cause them to think about other options diminish, and the ability to go get new rate or to get new commitments for money improve, because there's demonstrable benefits from the investments that they're making. So
Right.
all of those things say reliability solutions are a key part of success for utilities.
So in some ways, that sounds like a communication challenge to make sure that that appreciation is happening before the instance happens, and then you're upset about it, but getting in front of
Right,
it and
right.
saying, I need to be valuing reliability when I don't have a problem.
Right, right. It absolutely is a communication challenge because in many cases the utilities are talking to people who don't necessarily speak the language that they know. The types of measures that they use for reliability aren't terms that are familiar to the average consumer, or even in some cases to regulators. So not only do they have to find and prove out and then get ready to invest in reliability solutions, but they have to be able to communicate what they're doing and why it's good
Right.
to their customers.
Now, today you were on the panel with Manuel Miranda from Florida Power and Light. What were some of your takeaways from the points he put on the table today?
Florida Power and Light has been a leading company in developing and investing in and implementing reliability technologies. They started doing storm hardening. They started doing storm hardening in earnest after the 2004 and 2005 hurricane seasons, which were devastating, in many ways. And so they made investments early on in just hardening the basic infrastructure of their system. Better poles that were better designed, that were more robust in high winds. And later in the process, they started investing in reliability improvements, in automation on their grid as well. So they have gone through a number of years now of significant system-wide deployments of reliability improving technologies. And they now have the results to show for it. And the Hurricane Matthew example was just a phenomenal story of how that performance can be and what is possible, for a company that invests system-wide in those technologies. Just a couple of quick facts. They had 1 million customers without power, the day after the storm hit, and within just a couple of days, they were down to 25,000 or less. And during the course of the event itself, there were 120,000 outages averted from the automation or from the automated activity of the systems that they had invested in.
Wow, that's and it probably is fitting in terms of FPL being an area that is in such a corridor of climate potential disaster. Their sensitivity for being proactive on reliability might be higher than, say, another utility. But as climate changes occur more, it seems like this would push that urgency more towards the utility to be more proactive.
Absolutely. Well, Florida, of course, is in an area of the world where there are many storms, many hurricane level storms. And Florida Power and Light has 530 miles of coastline, as part of their service territory. And so they are particularly exposed to storms that come through frequently there. So that's one of the reasons that they went the way they did and invested the way they did. But if you look back over the last 12 years, there have been 5 years where weather-related events have cost more than $65 billion. And those areas, and they include 2 storms that were considered to be once-in-a-century storms, Katrina and Sandy. And those were areas that didn't hit Florida. Those were areas that hit the Gulf states and also the East Coast.
Right.
So it's not just a Florida issue, it's a broad-based issue for the country.
It's challenging times. It's difficult you deal with difficulty essentially and making it better. But what has you inspired when you come to ETS? What are you going to leave inspired with as a leader of S&C Electric?
Well, what inspires me is the fact that after many, many years of slow, stable business in this industry, it is just transforming. You know, the technologies that are out there available, both that are driving it and also the technologies that are a part of it in the solution, are just extraordinary. And it is such an exciting time to be part of this industry right now.
It is. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming. Again, we're at a ETS talk with Kyle Seymour, CEO of S&C Electric. My name is H.G. Chiselle. Thank you again for coming.